well, it's actually our second GR Yaris that we've done. Absolute tin box. This is the second sort of audio upgrade we've done on one of them. The last one went completely all out, thesis, speakers, as soon as they were released as well. So we had to find our way around the vehicle quite a bit, work out all the little quirks and stuff that Toyota like to put in with integrating the audio into the vehicles. So we got that under our belt, and now we're fairly confident with doing these systems, taking the cars to pieces. Find it a lot easier, just strip the car, being so compact, nothing gets damaged, and allows us to run all the cables and everything else neatly and properly. Going back to them being an absolute tin box, they do require quite a bit of soundproofing to enhance the audio. That's a good base. Get the soundproofing, get the panels nice and solid. It's always going to help when adding the equipment at a later date. You can see we've completely covered the door with the 3mm Skinz product on 4. We've used that for years now. It just delivers and gives solid results. So you can see we've covered the entire outer skin, so that's solid. Laser out custom baffles, so the speakers bolt in as OEM. We're not drilling any extra holes or anything like that. It'll all fix up as factory. So if you want to reverse it, sell the vehicle, you want to put it back to standard, everything's just bolt in, bolt out. We've also ran our own speaker cables completely from the amplifier through the vehicle. So again, we're not cutting any or chopping or tapping into any of the speaker plugs. So it's a completely reversible system. Chose to mount the amplifier tucked under the seat. As you can see, the factory amplifier is mounted under the driver's seat. We'll leave that in place, and then we've mounted this little powerhouse under the passenger seat, and all our looms all come out nice and neatly here. As you can see, it's fixed down, and that'll be hidden once the seat goes in. That'll be hidden. Plenty of room for the amp to breathe. It'll be nice to see what results we get from this. This is the first time we've done the 8 channel. We've done plenty of the 12 channels. This is from the new Forza range that was only released sort of earlier this year, and I believe that this 8 channel followed the initial release. Maybe wrong, but it's certainly the first one we've done. We usually do this sort of 12 channels when they've got a few more extra speakers, or they want bridging up for a bit more power and everything like that. I guess the original Yaris that we did, I guess it was a similar sort of setup. He went a lot heavier on the speakers, as in he went up from we're fitting the Voce range in this, which is still an excellent sort of component set speaker setup. But the previous one, he went all out. We did loads of work on it. We did a lot of trim work, suspension, exhaust, and everything like that. So he just followed suit he went for the Thesis range speakers, couple of amps, which we probably could have mounted them under the seat as well, but it was a bit easier to put them in the boot because he had a custom install and everything, whereas this is more of a complete OEM stock look. Other than the tweeters, we could have done them stock, but the client on this vehicle just wanted that little bit of custom work, I guess, to know that he's had an audio upgrade, even though the sound will be night and day. Scott's just finishing the wiring in the boot, but again, the OEM floor will go straight over the top of the Audison prefab sub box. The boot will be exactly the same as it come in. Just everything's stock. There's nothing to sort of worry about. Just a lot better sound, and enjoy the drive a little bit better. Here's the OEM speaker. It's like absolutely nothing to it compared to sort of what we are installing in this vehicle. This is the front driver. As you can see, the difference is night and day. That will reflect in the sound as well. We've used Audison for years to get really good results. But product support also is second to none. So this will be the front driver, which designed. These still need assembling and treating, but again, going back to these will locate OEM, just bolt up, perfect fit. Rear speakers, I would say that rear speakers aren't as important as the front end. You sit in the front of the vehicle, and that's where we try to put the sound stage. Like, as if you went to a concert, they stand in front of you. You watch them on the stage, everything comes from in front of you. So that's what we try tried to achieve here. But again, people like a little bit of rear fill for various reasons, your passengers, or just to create that more sort of fuller sound. But adding rear speakers will bring the sort of sound stage back a little bit. We went for a Prima. We didn't need to go as heavy on the rear end as the front. So these are the Prima range of speakers, coaxial, got the tweeter built into the centre. So that'll just be a one unit in the rear quarter for a bit of rear fill. Again, the rears have been designed and developed for that straight sort of bolt-in application. You know, we do multiple vehicles. People seem to think that we just do transporters. You know, we've worked on everything from hot hatches right the way up to supercars, sports cars, SUVs, buses, camper vans. But yeah, I mean, if you've got a Yaris GR, you're not happy with the OEM setup, which can be drastically improved, you don't have to go this far. You know, if you just wanted to upgrade the front components, if you wanted to amplify, or even just soundproof the stock panels, will enhance the mid bass and the sound from the OEM speakers. So the more panel will flex behind, the more energy speaker loses. So the idea is you make the panels rigid as possible, so the sound generates out the front of the speaker into the vehicle. So yeah, we can cater for any sort of package level. You know, if you wanted to do it in stages, you know, soundproofing speaker upgrade, add an amplifier, we can take it so that however far you go. So here's another install that we did. Well, I did this over a year ago for Talos. We've worked with them quite a bit past couple of years, and this was just one of their demo vehicles. They wanted to add a decent audio system. It's not often we get to put the Voce amps either through restriction on space or budget, whereas this vehicle had both. Still something a bit showy, but obviously completely functional as well. So the boots as OEM. A little bit on the front end. Again, not a lot to see. We just changed the sort of badges on the mid-range to what Talos classed as their Symphony package. So they'll do various levels of audio that they'll offer with their bespoke build. They obviously build these Defenders as a package. So you buy the new vehicle fully spec'd, or various trim options, audio options, wheels. They do the bumpers, side steps as a package. And we just had the opportunity to work alongside them a little bit and help them with a few parts of the project. It has got the Thesis three-way front end. The tweeters were just too big to get in the OEM location, so we chose to expose them. They look pretty good as well, to be fair. And then the mid-bass and mid-range in OEM location behind the doors. A Voce rear end, again, just for some rear fill and the passengers side of things. But the main focus is the sort of front end. You may have seen this one floating about Instagram, social media. I think Professor Green has been running around in it and as a lone vehicle, or I don't know if he's interested in the vehicle himself. It's been doing the rounds. That's why it's come back to us. Just retune the audio. Now he's had quite a bit of time playing it. Obviously, systems like this, there's only so much time we can play the system before we give it back to the client. So once everything's bedded in and settled down, you know, if the client wanted to book back in for another retune or tuning session, there's always scope to do that on these kind of systems to get the most out of them. Having said that, I think Sam, I believe, is just inside starting the bass tune on the Yaris, and now that's all back together. So we'll go and see how that's turning out. Okay, so now we're just doing the final tune. We've done all the basic setup, make sure all the speakers are where they should be, dedicated to each channel on the amp. So now we're just going through time alignment stages, EQing, seeing what's needed, if anything. Obviously, we can revisit this stage again once the speakers have bedded in a little bit and had a few hours playing on them and they've all loosened up, everything's new and tight. We're just going to work through the process on this, ready for the client to pick it up, and we'll see you on the next one.
Nice.